Hey y'all, this is your girl Tysheen and I'm back with another video. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yes, white people in Sweden are happier than we are. I mean, I can guess why, because life over there is just simple. No one try to be better than the next person. I don't know. They're chill people. They just chill. You know, they don't really stress themselves that much. But I've seen other videos about people over there could be very depressed and stuff like that. But I mean, that's kind of like everywhere anyway. I mean, it all depends on the person. I can't really say everybody or majority of the people. It really depends on the person. But from all the videos and stuff that I've learned about Sweden is just a chill place. People over there, they mind their business. They to some people might think they're rude, but they're not. They're not the type of people to just come out and want to talk to you. It's not like that. Like, they have to really like know you to really get that close, you know. Yeah, but they're just chill people. They just chill, you know. So I can see why they could be happy over there, because life over there is just simple, you know. So let's get straight to this video, because I'm quite sure there's some other stuff they want to tell us. So yeah.
Find it in Sweden.
Find it in Sweden.
Yeah, it's not the happiest country on the list, but it has a serious advantage. It's the only country in the EU that didn't have a lockdown, which means their way of life didn't change in 2020. Sweden serves as a good reflection of all the Scandinavian countries put together. My plan is to collect some perspective data in Sweden, then extrapolate it to all the other neighboring countries, and finally figure out why it is these guys who are the happiest bunch in the world. Don't worry, I won't bore you with a flood of applied sociology. Instead, as is customary YouTube tradition, let me give you a rundown of what to expect. In this episode, you will see Stockholm and Malmo. We'll check out interesting buildings, discover the local architecture and design.
That's nice.
Oh, and we'll hack one of these buildings too. We'll check out lots of retro cars, investigate why Swedes buy garbage from Norway. Of course, we'll also tour the country a bit, talk to some great people, and all of this should hopefully explain why the Scandinavians are so happy with their lives.
That's nice. That's nice.
We begin in Stockholm. A city of cyclists, a peculiar underground that is often called the biggest art gallery, and of course, the Nobel Prize, presented in this building. I don't want to dive into Stockholm just yet, but just let me give you a quick taste. This is my second time here, and luckily it's summer, because last time it was winter and very, very different. Scandinavian winters can be magical, which is what the North was like. But as for cities, well, they aren't great in the winter. Weather is critical to how you perceive a city, making it very different in rain or sunshine. So, best to come here in summer, trust me. I think the advantages of Stockholm in
I do have planned to go there in the summer, not winter. I can't do it.
the summer are obvious. And surprisingly, it's the harsh weather cities where people are the happiest. The general public, on the other hand, typically think it's places that look like this that are ideal for life. Well, according to the statistics, they look like this. The second widely held myth is this. Why are there so many suicides if these are the happiest countries in the world? This, guys, is also not true, and the UN report serves as a good proof of it. In short, there is some truth to it, but only in the 60s and 70s. Due to a lack of sunlight in the Scandinavian countries, people here often suffer from an illness called seasonal affective disorder, which leads to depression. However, once the benefits of vitamin D were discovered and doctors started to prescribe antidepressants, the negative statistics started to change.
Listen to the clock.
Nowadays, the number of suicides in Scandinavian countries is equal to the average European figures. If we look at the worldwide list of countries, Finland is 32nd and Sweden is 51st, with Norway and Denmark even farther down the list. Now that we've dispelled the myths, let's see what the smiley faces of one of the happiest countries in the world looks like. My first impression, these guys don't look that happy. It's definitely not the typical dolce vita in Italy or Spain, where people start their mornings with a glass of wine.
Если швед счастлив, то ты не видишь в лицо. Потому что я сейчас в метро поехал, и все вот так сидят.
I guess this serves as a key to understanding the local satisfaction with life.
You don't have to have a look in your face to assume that somebody's happy. I mean, you don't know. Like, not everybody's gonna walk around with a smile on their face. Just because you see somebody with a serious look on their face doesn't mean that they're not happy. Like, if you see me walking down the street and I'm not smiling, that doesn't mean I'm not happy.
And in order to really understand the Swedes and learn their lifestyle, I need to introduce you to a local term. It's called Lagom, which stands for moderate, adequate, and just right. This is the quintessential Swedish behavior, a philosophy of life, and it means that everything in life must be moderate. There are even a bunch of books on this that describe all aspects of life, from health and emotions to your social behavior. Put another way, the word is defined as a sort of balance and equilibrium. Diving deeper still, it's about saying no to things you don't need and not showing off. It's the search for the perfect balance. Swedes seek out balance in everything: the work-life balance, savings, their attitude to fashion, the home, and much more. So let's figure out how it correlates with happiness and how we can employ this in our everyday lives. We begin with society at large. These countries are known by their middle class, relatively equal income, but most importantly, the attitude people have towards each other.
И суть в том, как я понимаю, что никто не лучше, никто не хуже. Вот все где-то в золотой серединке, скажем так. Никто не выпендривается, да, и таких не любят.
In other words, modesty means happiness. Showing off and wearing things like extravagant diamond watches is all very foreign to the Swedes. You just don't show your supremacy, since it might cause discomfort to other people. Equality serves as one of the main pillars of Swedish society, and
I like that. I hate people who feel like they feel like they're better than everybody by flashing their gold and their jewelry, and who cares?
absolutely hate it when you demonstrate financial superiority, greater knowledge, or simply dress better. Swedes are super trendy, but very casual at the same time.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I didn't know, back when I was younger, I didn't know much about Sweden fashion, whatever. But I just knew that there were certain things that I just love to wear. And stuff that I wear, I could see Sweden people, like something simple. I like stuff that's just, just simple. Nothing. I like stuff like this that's just simple. And even pants. Well, you can't see my pants. But I dress casual. That's how I like to dress. I like to dress comfortable and casual. But I was always like that, though, even when I was a teenager. And I started seeing more of Sweden fashion, and I was like, I'm so in love because it's just so simple, but at the same time, it looks comfortable. Nothing is flashy, it's just simple, But yeah.
So you won't see anything flashy here. A good example of Lagom is the Swedish clothing brand H&M.
H&M is where it's so crazy that he mentioned that, because H&M is like one of my favorite stores.
It's stylish and inexpensive, and it makes you look good without standing out. Exceptions to the rule do exist, of course, but they seem to kind of prove the Swedes' point. The same goes for vehicles, as throughout my trip, I only saw a few number of fancy cars, although I feel that those were probably the foreigners. In general, people here tend to choose more standard cars, while some prefer bikes instead. Here's another example of this humble style of life for you.
Do I belong here? Like, I think I belong in Sweden. I think I belong in Sweden. Cause I don't care for flashy cars. I just want a simple car. I don't care for flashy cars. I would love to ride a bicycle. I don't have a bike, but man.
Meet the Swedish princess Madeleine, with her husband, at a formal reception, and picking up her dog's poop in Stockholm. The thing is, jealousy kind of disappears when there is no superiority, and in the end, there is no one to be jealous of, and this attitude is exercised right from childhood. The kids at school start getting grades in year 6, again, to make everyone feel equal. All in all, I'd say the qualities that the Swedish society has really taken to are equality.
Look how they all dress the same. Cool.
And modesty. Now, let's talk about work. All jobs in Sweden come with additional benefits, and, as it turns out, it is quite difficult to get fired here.
Потому что если тебя хотят уволить, то это должны быть очень объективные причины, почему тебя должны уволить. Есть профсоюзы, которые тебя будут отстаивать. И даже если тебя увольняют, то тебе, то есть с тобой пытаются даже полюбовно договориться. То есть известные случаи, тебе просто говорят: слушай, ну мы тебе выплатим полугодовую зарплату. Ну уйди, пожалуйста. Ну пожалуйста.
Мне еще говорили, что чем раньше ты пришел работать на фирму, тем сложнее уволить тебя по сравнению с тем, кто пришел позже тебя.
This is the first in, last out system. If you, my friend, stay at the same company for a long time, you practically become invincible. Sweden is extremely people-oriented. Here, you get free education. Healthcare isn't completely free, but it's inexpensive. You might be wondering, there's gotta be some catch to this too-good-to-be-true scenario. And it's the tax.
I was gonna say that. Oh my God, he beat me to it. He beat me to it. I was gonna say tax. The taxes are higher over there. He beat me to it. Damn it.
Taxes. Taxes here are some of the highest in the world. Some folks' income taxes are as high as 56%. In the end, these immense taxes may appear to be a downside, but they seem to be at least one reason the Swedes are so happy with their lives.
Yeah.
Allow me to explain. It's all about the progressive tax rate, which we'll now learn more of thanks to Stas and Marina, who live in Malmo.
Как я это понимаю, больше получаешь, больше платишь. У нас даже был момент, мы там прыгали в зарплате, и в какой-то момент Марина на бумаге получала на 1000 евро, скажем, больше, в общем, я на 1000 меньше, но мы получали на руки одинаковую сумму, потому что...
похожую.
Ну да, похожую сумму, потому что она зашла за какой-то порог, там следующий трэш-холд, и там вырастает, получается, налог там по 5, по 10%. То есть больше получаешь, больше платишь.
Иногда бывает то, что тебе, в принципе, нет смысла зарабатывать больше, да?
Ну да, но это как-то все с этой системой Lagom здесь, когда тебе должно быть достаточно.
One thing that these progressive rates do is discourage you from working overtime, as every additional hour results in more taxes, both for you and your employer.
That's here too in America. The more hours you put in, the more tax they take from you. I don't do overtime. I used to do overtime at work, and I noticed they were taking way more tax from me. And I was like, you know what? No.
Meaning that it's not more profitable to work a lot. This kind of levels the rat race, where you work non-stop in order to earn more. Completely changing your perception of money. And just as the American money-making model can be parodied by the phrase, get rich or die trying, Scandinavians are all about Lagom.
Relaxing, chilling.
Why spend your life chasing millions that you won't even be able to spend when you can earn a sufficient amount and enjoy some free time?
Yeah, enjoy
This is where
yourself.
the idea of balance
Look at
swiftly
that.
comes into play. A work-life balance that serves as one of the pillars to local happiness. They do follow a work schedule, but never stay overtime.
То есть, условно, все 8-9 пришли, в 4-5 ушли, да, там 8 часов на работе провели, а дальше это все твое свободное время на себя, на семью, на друзей. Здесь не принято перерабатывать, как у нас. Это не поощряется. Если ты там посидишь, да, там 2 часика доработаешь, нет. Тебе, скажем так, твои близкие там коллеги скажут: иди-ка ты домой.
Серьезно?
Да. Это был первый совет, который мне дали, когда я пришла на работу. Сказали: здесь не так, как в Украине. Вот положено, ты там 8 часов провела в офисе, все, дальше ты уходишь.
And this work-life balance
I've been doing that. I've been doing that already. Work my 8 hours and that's it. No, I'm not staying extra. No.
couldn't it be more different than Japan, where working overtime has become a social norm? People there sleep during their commute to work, and hundreds die on a yearly basis due to work fatigue, which has even become a separate word, karoshi. Swedes, on the other hand, are far from that. No karoshi here. Today's Friday.
I know people here in America, even places that I used to work at, people would drop dead because people were working so many hours. There people were doing like double hours, double shift, I should say, double shift. They don't even see their home. They're paying. they working so hard to save up to pay, you know, like pay their bills and stuff, but you're not even home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You work all these hours so you could pay your bills, but you're not even home. You're mostly at work. Yeah, I know a guy who told me he always do a lot of hours. He always do doubles, but he's never home. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
Friday, 4:30 on the nose, and while everyone is still hard at work in other countries, the Swedes, just look at it. As if it's a Saturday evening, and everybody else is still packed in their offices. It's because of this attitude to work, locals have enough free time for family, sports, and leisure. And this, of course, affects your satisfaction with life.
В этой стране не разбогатеешь, но жить можно на хорошем уровне.
In other words, it's the perfect balance of it all. Interestingly, this idea does not only resonate with society, but also Swedish companies and concepts that this.
So she said you won't get rich in that country, but let's say if you were a YouTuber and you make a lot of money with YouTube, like, will I get less if I move to Sweden? I guess it depends on the country you live. I think, yeah. I'm sorry, this is something I was thinking about.
Swedes gave.
I mean, I don't care to be rich. I mean, I'd rather just live like this, just be comfortable and just be chilling.
To the world. Let me show you. I just couldn't help but present the next subject in a creative way, because it's one of my favorites. It's Swedish design and architecture.
The new best way to make money online that nobody's talking about is something you've never heard of before. It's
Scandinavian architectural design is one of the most popular in the world right now, and Sweden plays an important part in it, because their architecture is like a reflection of their attitude to life. Minimalistic building design, nothing over the top, no decor, and it still manages to look stunning. And the Stockholm underground follows the same principles. The locally known tunnelbana was built inside granite rocks, and instead of decorating it, the Swedes painted the walls in bright colors, and now have one of the most unusual and memorable underground metros in the world. Functionality meets simplicity. Sweden's largest furniture manufacturer also follows these same principles. And yes, I am referring to IKEA.
Yes.
There are more IKEA catalogs printed every year than Bibles. They come in 29 languages, and when it comes to the IKEA decor, it's once again all about Lagom.
That's one thing I've learned about Sweden, okay, is the fact that their design is just so beautiful and nice, but it's just simple. I think that's the right word that you could use to describe Sweden. The design is beautiful, but it's just simple, you know? And I like that. You know, it's not boring to me. It's beautiful, it's nice, you know? Yeah, that's one thing I've learned so far about Sweden, about their style. You know, it's just simple and nice.
As the streamlined and low-key design aims for functionality, simplicity, and durability. It's hard not to mention Ingvar Kamprad when talking about IKEA, because not only is he the founder, but it's also who the company is named after. IKEA is an acronym, which stands for the founder's first name, last name, and his place of birth. Ingvar once saw that one of his employees was detaching the legs from a table to fit into a customer's car. And that's when it hit him. From that point forward, all the company's products would be sold disassembled, which drastically decreased the logistical expenses. Kamprad was a billionaire, one of the richest people of his time, but was also known for thrift, as if he was from the year 2050. He always flew economy, made his employees use both sides of the paper, and drove around in a 15-year-old Volvo. This exact one. Apparently, there was even an
That's the smartest thing that anyone could come up with. That is very smart of him. Very smart. I shop at IKEA. My computer desk is from IKEA. I like it because it's just simple, it's nice. I used to buy a lot of stuff from IKEA. The only thing I don't like about from IKEA, I'm being honest, is the couch. Maybe I got the wrong couch, but the couch, it was okay, but it wasn't comfortable enough for me. But everything else I love, but not the couch though.
Incident when Ingvar wasn't allowed access to a gala to receive his Businessman of the Year award because he took the bus and security didn't recognize him.
Wow.
Perhaps it's quite a peculiar behavior for someone worth $50 billion, but then again, it's all about the Swedish modesty, isn't it? Oh, and let me show you a couple of buildings that caught my eye. Let's start with Victoria Tower, a 117-meter high-rise built in the Stockholm Silicon Valley. Thanks to its scale-like surface, it naturally blends into the landscape. And if you look at it from just the right angle, it almost becomes invisible.
Yeah.
Ericsson Globe is another unusual design, and the biggest spherical building in the world. This 85-meter tall golf ball serves as a concert hall, and there's even a gondola that can take you up to the top of it. Next is the Euphoria Mall in Malmo, which features a
This is nice. That is
very
nice.
futuristic-looking facade covered in golden glass. Finally, the most recognizable skyscraper in Sweden, the Turning Torso,
That one is
a 190-meter
so
building
tall.
that for a long time has been considered the tallest building of its kind in the world. Today, it's still the tallest building in Scandinavia, in a postcard site of Malmo.
What's inside of there?
As for my two favorites, allow me to enlighten you a bit with the Stockholm Public Library. It's nearly 100 years old, but thanks to its design, it looks like it belongs amongst the modern architecture. And although I can't say that I've seen a ton of libraries around the world, this one here definitely earns the top spot on my list. What's amazing is that anyone can go in. You don't need a library card or anything, you just go in and start getting blown away. Make sure you visit it next time.
You don't need a library card? That is crazy. Because here you need a library card. Like, they don't play. You gotta show, I think you have to show them. I haven't been in the library such a long time. But I'm trying to see if I can remember. I know that you have to bring in your ID. I think you have to bring your ID and you gotta show proof that you live there or something like that. I don't remember. It's been such a long time, but something like that. That's crazy.
I'm here in Stockholm. And don't forget to read too, guys.
I'm so fat. Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt. Look at Nate.
Finally, I was excited to show you one more interesting structure. But for that, the night had to come first. Watch that tower, guys. We wait for nightfall, open our special app, and select the tower floors. Then, the fun begins. This app lets you control the color of the tower. And by combining red, green, and blue in different proportions, we can achieve any color in the entire spectrum. And here's what my amateur skills got me. Here's more, and more. I think I could spend my whole life just playing with these colors. And thankfully, the app developers limit each session to 10 minutes. What's crazy though is that it was launched in 2006, so it's now been 14 years that this tower has brought joy to the locals.
That is so cool. I want to know how many people are standing around trying to put their color in. He said you only got 10 minutes. But what if you and another person is doing it at the same time? I'm just thinking.
I got quite lucky with Stockholm this time. The weather was great. I explored the city and loved it. Back in wintertime, I didn't want to risk jumping on a river ferry. But this time, here I am. And check out the process for flagging down a ferry. You put the sign down, and it's how the captain knows that you want in. And seeing Stockholm from the river ferry is something you guys should definitely try. Here's something that happened afterwards.
That is
I was minding my own business on
beautiful.
Sergelstorg Square, and then this happened.
people have no seatbelt on and they're on their phone. Isn't that a little dangerous?
Honestly, I was surprised. It was like a vintage rally in Sweden, guys. A place where people don't show off and drive boring cars. It feels like I'm in Las Vegas in the 70s. And where on earth did these cars come from? Turns out, Sweden is where one of the largest American classic car festivals takes place. And apparently, it even attracts the Americans themselves, who are eager to check out these beauties, all due to the fact that there are more of them here than in the US. So, these motorheads gather up on late Fridays and go for a stroll. And this is when it hit me. I decided to get a car too, so I rented one. I know, renting a Merc in Sweden is pretty dumb, but I couldn't find a Volvo, because they're all taken. Yep, we'll have to roam in a Merc unfortunately, although Volvo is always with us, thanks to their invention that we all wear these days, seatbelts. And they registered it as an open patent so that all other car manufacturers could make full use of it too. For free, of course. The Swedes. Gotta love them. We're now in a very interesting place, and it's where I'd like to talk about something that the Swedes really excel at, even more than the rest of the world. It's recycling. Try to wrap your mind around this. Sweden recycles 99% of the trash it produces, and only that last 1% ends up in the landfill. Moreover, their recycling program provides Stockholm with 40% of its electrical demands, an impressive achievement of infrastructure, given that Sweden has no oil and gas, and it's where alternative energy becomes the solution to energy-induced problems. In order to achieve such results, the government began to educate its society in the late 80s. And these days, even kindergartners have lessons on recycling. A key aspect of this education is the correct assortment of trash, which is supported by the so-called FTI stations, where glass is separated by...
I live in New York. We need more of this.
by color, and aluminum, paper, and plastic have individual bins. As far as plastic goes, it's a different story of its own. And this is how the government encourages people to dispose of it properly. We go into a grocery store and pick up the most basic water bottle. The water itself costs 10 krona, but the receipt says 11 krona. This is not some organized financial crime arranged by the grocery store, but a way to make you recycle this bottle. And that's how you get your 1 krona back. Plastic bottles can be recycled on the spot. You put your empty bottle in and get a barcode that you can redeem in the store to get your money back.
This is future.
Yep, these machines are everywhere, utilized to their utmost potential by the entrepreneurs around us. Plastic bags are more expensive than their paper alternatives. Also, Swedes love their secondhand shops, where apart from clothing, you can also find dishes, books, vinyls, and lots of other useful things too.
Вот это секонд-хенд, вот это секонд-хенд. Что да, люди покупают, да. Это мода для молодой человек.
Also, you can recycle clothes too. And then there's a thing called plogging, which is a combination of jogging and picking up litter. It's not surprising then that it's Sweden that brought up the famous Greta Thunberg, the author of
How dare you?
How dare you?
Let me show you what domestic litter assortment looks like.
Добро пожаловать в мир сортировки.
Every building has its own sorting room. And while food waste goes into dedicated paper bags, here's the best part.
На каждый такой мешочек, который ты собрал с пищевыми отходами, автобус на биотопливе может проехать 4 километра.
I completely forgot to mention that buses here run on biogas and biodiesel, which in turn looks roughly like this. Yep, it's just your average compost. And this is why people don't just throw their trash away, because they have a clear understanding as to why it is sorted and what that process achieves. As for large waste, there are specialized centers for that.
Скажи, пожалуйста, это платно вообще?
Это, конечно, бесплатно.
Это бесплатно, что?
Государство заинтересовано, чтобы мы правильно сортировали мусор.
Remember how the Australians leave their old furniture on the street, hoping someone might take it so they don't have to pay to throw it away?
That's here.
Well, Sweden is the opposite. You throw your stuff away for free. You just bring it to a specialized location. Because of this, the locals rent vans to dispose of large items. And check out how packed this place is. This large trash is then compacted in containers that process construction waste, wood, books, tires, lamps, batteries, and even household appliances that I bet would have been taken off the curb in no time if this were Australia. Here, though, it's recycled.
Very organized and just simple. I like that.
I felt as though there was more I could investigate on the subject, so I took off for a town called Linköping, home to recycling company Tekniska Verken. Honestly, if you take off the pipes, it starts to look like a pretty good-looking business center. Alright, think about this. Sweden actually imports garbage. The country doesn't have enough trash to keep its recycling factories running, so they buy it from other countries, including Norway and the UK. It's thanks to this recycled energy that over 1 million homes get heating, and roughly 700,000 additional households get electricity. This Swedish model of recycling is called trash to treasure, and it's probably why these factories look so space age. I mean, I'd even live in one. I think this is what the future needs to look like, with recycling centers that look better than the homes we live in, and garbage that is turned into energy. Wonderful. Just when I started to think our investigation of Sweden was complete, I realized that there was one more thing to highlight regarding the happiness of the Swedish people.
Those homes are nice.
In at least one point of this episode, you heard me say that the weather wasn't great here. But when the sun comes out, which doesn't last long or happen often, the Swedes take to the forests, have a picnic, and even swim in the freezing sea.
You have to have those bad weather to be happy in the good weather.
This is the south of Sweden, where many have their summer houses, and it's where people go to chill and be closer to nature. Those who don't have summer houses become resourceful and pitch a tent, and according to the Swedish laws, you can camp wherever you want, including the national parks. And although you may not associate Sweden with amazing landscapes, it actually does have some great spots. I guess then, the final piece that helps generate the Swedes' happiness is becoming one with nature. And finally, the puzzle is complete. To summarize, I believe that there are a number of reasons behind the Swedes' happiness. One reason is the equality. The difference between rich and poor isn't substantial, and even if it exists, no one really flaunts it. So, everyone feels equal. Everyone is socially secure. No one here cares about the rat race and getting fired. And they spend their free time with family, nature, friends, whatever. I have another theory too, though, and it dawned on me after visiting countries that border the equator. Perhaps the reason why life is great in these Nordic countries is actually the climate. I know, the sun is blazing in full swing and the weather is gorgeous right now, but in reality, the local climate is really harsh, which I think very much challenged the earliest people from these countries to work as hard as they possibly could throughout the summer, so that they didn't die of hunger or freezing temperatures in the winter. This, in my opinion, is why countries surrounding the equator are usually the most economically challenged, because they don't have as much interest in tirelessly working themselves 24/7, and they don't live in fear of dying from the cold or going hungry from freezing conditions. And if we extrapolate that to some people's lives in general, you can make the case that someone who is raised with a silver spoon in their mouth usually struggles more in life compared to people who live in stressful conditions and have no option but to work, trying to achieve something in life. It's the latter bunch that succeed in life. It's a simple philosophy, but I think it works, even if you apply it to something like a whole country. That's all from me this time. You know what to do. See ya.
Woo. Thank you for this video. Oh man, this video was long. I mean, this said how long it's gonna be. It's gonna be 27 minutes, but I just had to. I had to watch it. I had to. It's more. So much more stuff you need to know about Sweden and why people are so happier in Sweden. It was so much to take in. Oh man, the fashion, this simple life. Everything I got from this video is basically just everybody's just living simple. No one is trying to outdo the next person. Everybody just living comfortable, you know, and they following the rules, and it makes living there just more easier, I should say. No one's killing themselves to make more money than the next person and all that other stuff. No, everybody's just living comfortable and relaxing, and that's part of life. You know, life is too short to be stressing yourself all the time. But I enjoyed this. I really did. If there's any other videos you'd like me to react to, comment below, let your girl know. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So go down there and subscribe. Yes, go down there and subscribe. And also check these videos out that I have about Sweden. And I see you lovely people. Take care of yourself. Bye. Yeah.